Okay then, so to start off, if you could tell me your name and your date and place of birth, please.
Of Mrs. Violet Stanley. Would you want me Wise? Or Mrs. Violet Stanley,
Yeah.
was named Wise, Violet Wise.
Is that W-I-S-E?
Yeah, W-I-S-A. And I was born in number 13 Factory Road, Tipton, at top of Factory 3. And my birth is the 19th of March, 1929.
1929, thank you. And if you could tell me how your family came to be on the boats?
Well, my dad was a boatman. He used to be a Joey boat. He used to see him, never used to see him till one Saturday to the other Saturday. And my mum had a serious illness and she got 3 years to live. So when I was 5 years old, well, 5 and a half, my dad took my mum on the boats and she lived 14 years after. So when she went back to a doctor in 2 years' time, the doctor at Tipton, Dr. Lloyd, I think it was, he didn't know my mum because she'd put a lot of weight on.
Yeah.
And then when we come off, my mum lived 2 years and then she died because she got squashed with a tiller.
Oh dear.
When the lot were filling up.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a cancer of the breast.
Oh.
Yeah. But my dad was a boatman, but my mum wasn't a boatman, so I went to Tipton Green School.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit what I learnt I forgot when I went on the boats. So then I started, then I'll be about nearly 7. I used to stand on the stool and steer the boat.
Uh-huh. So who, did your dad have his own boat? Or
No, we worked for the Grand Union Canal.
Uh-huh.
And my dad had his brother. We had his brother with us to show my mother how to steer and that, you know, and we had him a decent bit.
And
Like mate.
And what were your boats called?
The first one we had was I think it was Stratford. The Stratford was a butty, and I can't think of the motor. We had Nixon's boats. They was at Toysley, and we picked them up from there. Come from Tipton and picked them up there.
Oh, I see.
And I wouldn't drink out the water can because I thought it would cut water. So I wouldn't drink out the water can. And then we went down then to Limehouse. Went down to Bulls Bridge. Went back empty, and went to Bulls Bridge, and then we had to go to Limehouse. So they were putting the first lot of steel in, and the boat tipped up. My mother screamed. She thought we were sinking. And my dad kept saying, "Shut up!" She said, "We're sinking." All the stuff come out the cabin, out in the food cupboard.
Yeah.
So, good grief. Then we had some cabin plates to give us and all that, yeah, for my grandma, because she was a boatman. My grandma, Mrs. Wise, Lizzie Wise, and William Wise, my granddad.
Uh-huh.
And
so, what do you remember from when you first went on the boats? How different was it from when you've been living in Tipton and going to school there? Well, we got used to it a bit because we used to play houses in the boat's bottom. Because my dad knowed where we was, just we wouldn't fall in the cut, you know. And we used to play dolls and that in the boat's bottom, or my sister would be playing dolls and she'd be talking to herself in the boat's bottom, you know. Because my dad didn't like us being in the hatches or on the top of the cabin in case we fell in the cut. You say. Yeah, so what was the run that you were doing? What were you carrying when you first
Well, we
went
carried Guinness for 2 years. That was from London, where the football is, the big football. What is it? Where they had the big football. Wembley. Yeah, we carried Guinness from Wembley. We used to have a steam crane loaded up with barrels for Guinness. And then we used to take it to Birmingham. They used to allow us 4 days to get there and 2 days to come back. We used to work all night. Well, I used to let my dad have a sleep in the day along the pounds, and then we used to be asleep in the cabin at night.
I see. So did you help out on the boat?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I helped
first
out.
Went on? And what jobs did you have?
Well, I used to ride a bike along the canal. Not really, me and my sister. And she was trying to copy the learner women. Never got any shoes on. Anyway, she got her and tied on the handlebars. Well, shoes were on coupons then. She ran in the court and couldn't find the shoes. Oh, so, yeah. We used to have some fun, like when we used to get with us mates, go to the pictures. We were on in the war.
Right. So when would it be the early 30s then when you went on the boats for the first?
The war, I can't remember when the war
about-
started. I wasn't
Well,
very
it was
old.
1939, and you were born in 1929, and you
I'd
went on
be
the
about
boats when you were 5. So
About 5, yeah.
yeah, so you'd be about 10 when the war
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And how did things change on the Cook? Can you remember? Was it
What, when the war were
when
on?
the war started? Yeah.
Oh, we used to. I had to have a look out for the spies, what were following us, because we got goods on Air Force, and we had Air Force on one boat and Army on the other boat. And we used to set them to Tring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We used to have to empty it up of Cowley Lock, just along a bit. On the left-hand side used to be some big warehouses, what they used to put the uniforms in. And then we used to carry food packs for the Army and the Air Force. We used to carry timber. We carried air raid shelters, not air raid shelters, prefabs
Oh yeah.
to come to Tisley for Bedworth. One lock tipped over once, and the butty was tipped over and slipped, and I attempted the lock to get the butty back up again. You know, because we'd got to go through the tunnel, and it was in Stoke locks before you got to the top of Stoke.
I see. So going back to when you first went onto the boat, I mean, what was it like, sort of suddenly living in the boat cabin after you'd been in,
I
in the
felt
house?
a bit seasick, because when the boat hit, it frightened you, you know, when the boat hit the side, for grief, you always thought about sinking. Because my dad fritted us one day, we went down Limehouse, and we got to go on the river. I don't know whether it's Victoria Docks, something like that. And you got to have a life belts on, and you've got to have a waterman to be on the boat to steer the boat,
Yes.
because captain couldn't steer it. So we asked my dad what we were going to these for, and he says, "Oh well, when you go on the river, you go in under the river." Me and my sister were fit to death. So when the steerer, you know, said, "We're going to go under the river," and my dad was laughing. It fit us to death. I thought we were going to go like a submarine under the river. Everybody was fritting and all. Oh, grave. That was about the second trip round, that war.
Right. So how many of them were you on
4.
the boats?
So my dad, Billy Wise, my mum, Ginny Wise, and my sister, Beattie Wise, and I were Violet Wise.
Right. And you had the motor and the...
I used to steer the motor a lot
Right.
when my dad were having a sleep.
Yeah. So did you and your sister have one cabin and you
No,
and
we
Dad
slept, slept on the motor's cabin,
Right.
but my dad used to hook us in, because I used to sleepwalk. Because one night he got up and I was just on the back of the bumper, just going to jump in the court, and my dad catch me. And then the second time I got underneath the stove, well, a range we called it, and my mum had got some crocs in the bowl and I was rattling them. So he said after that, he locked me in the cabin. No, well, you know, just let it open for the air.
Yeah.
But he'd rather do that than have me drowned.
Well, yeah, I can see you.
I used to hate to go under tunnels.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like tunnels.
Yeah. So you were saying that you did some steering.
Oh, yeah.
Was,
Lot wheeling.
yeah, was it difficult to learn to steer or easy?
No. But mind you, it were hard. It were hard to learn. I mean, my mother never been on the boat till she put her foot on the boat at Tisley. You know, and
did she take to the boat then?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my mother could go lot wheeling. She never used to wear bra, corsets, stockings. She used to go lot blooming neck along the toe pad. She couldn't have go and wind the paddles up. When my sister used to go here, and then I used to steer the boat with my dad. And if we're coming to load boats like with salmon, or corned beef, I used to help my dad to cloth up while they went and done the shopping down Limehouse, you know.
Oh, I see.
And we had a load of onions. Oh, grief. When you were in bed, you could smell onions. Then we had burnt rubber. Somewhere it got bombed and we had burnt rubber. Oh, God, it was terrible. It was
oh,